My name is Robert Gullette. I run a company called Laminar Workflow. We are a custom machine builder. Most of my background has been in manufacturing and automation. About 6 years ago, we decided to do our own thing, start our own company. I'd had some bad experiences in previous jobs, so I decided I could probably do this a little bit better. I felt like there was a way that you could do automation, but do it in a way that was cost effective. If you're just turning a couple lights on and off, you don't need $5,000 worth of PLC equipment. The first step is define the problem. What problem are you trying to solve, and what does success look like? If you just worry about cycle time, we may do it something differently than if you're just worried about quality. You got to define what success looks like very early on. Defining the process. Before you automate anything, you've got to understand your process. And not just the one you want to automate, but the one before, the one after, the one 2 steps before, one's 2 steps after. It may require some changes upstream, or you may be able to lump 2 or 3 steps into one automated cell. You're not going to automate a bad process and make it a good process. You're just going to make it a faster bad process. Write it down on a piece of paper. That way it doesn't change and we can all refer to it, and it's so much easier for everybody involved. Eliminates the scope creep. As the customer, you know exactly what you're buying. As the vendor, I know exactly what I'm building. Everybody's on the same page. I mean, it protects everybody. And that can be a living document. It doesn't necessarily have to be the final document. During the quoting process, a lot of times we'll make suggestions, or we'll say, hey, we can't do that. We'll sit down and look at the scope of work with the customer and actually physically sign off on it. Say, hey, this is what you're buying. This is the expectation. This is what we're going to provide. This is the runoff requirements. Some of these cells cost as much as a house. You're going to buy a very expensive robot cell. You wouldn't dream of buying a house without written documentation. Pretend like you're buying a magic black box. What are the inputs? What are the outputs? How many different part geometries do you have? What's your current cycle time? What's your desired cycle time? How are the parts being delivered to this black box? Are they in pallets? Are they in cases? What are the outputs? What do you want to come out of that black box? What do the parts need to look like? How do they need to be positioned? What are the tolerances? If I delivered a black box to you, what are you looking for? What items do I need to show you that this thing does? If you can give us very specific, detailed information, then we can really design a system for you. And not just design it, but do it cost effectively. Because if you give us vague details, we're going to give you a vague price. Because once you have a written document, you can send it out and get multiple quotes. Because now everybody's quoting to the same baseline. If you have one document that says, hey, this is what we want, and everybody quotes just to that document, now you have apples to apples quotes you can compare to. Write the scope of work, but before you show it to me, go to your stakeholders all the way up and get buy-in that this is what they want. Not having the decision makers at least involved, it wastes everybody's time. Ultimately, everybody up the chain of command needs to at least buy in. Engage the shop floor guys, engage the shop foreman, engage the guy actually doing the work, because 9 times out of 10, they know the process better than the process engineer. It makes them feel involved, first of all, like their input's valued, and they're not just being replaced by a robot, and it gives them some ownership in the system. I often encourage customers to do phases. There's always some kind of proof of concept that needs to be done. Spend a couple $1,000 so that when you spend the $200,000, you have much more confidence that it's going to work. I would encourage customers to do like a design phase. We'll do the CAD models, we'll spec out everything. It helps the customer out because it's like they're not investing just tons and tons of money, so they can very easily see in virtual world what they're going to get, and we can check functionality. There's so much you can do with CAD modeling these days. It takes a little bit of time, but it's much better than cutting a huge PO and having no idea what you're actually going to get. And it also helps us accurately quote the build of the system, because now we know exactly down to the nut and bolt what we're building, and in a lot of cases get the customer a better price. Depending on the project, we may do like a prototype, or we may just build the whole thing. In our business, we build custom machines. Very rarely have they ever been made before. Very rarely will we ever build more than one. If you can get it off the shelf, buy it off the shelf.